Good afternoon. It is February 7th, 2018. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Lemanos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on? College basketball season, full swing. Everyone can pay all of their attention now. Great time. Great time to be alive.
See, that's really funny that you're completely motivated off of college basketball now. But you know what we got to do. It has to be done. We need to talk about it. The listeners want to hear it, or maybe they don't. I don't know. But what I'm referring to is the results from this past Sunday. The very high-scoring, very exciting, and non-defensive Super Bowl. With results that I could say I'm less pleased with than normal. But you know what? It was a great game. I'm going to give them a bunch of credit. I think a lot of people were expecting me to be whiny and crying and bitter about all this. But you know what? I mean, they put up 41 points. I think if you put up 41 points in the Super Bowl, you should win. Right? I think it's that simple. So we were beat. We were flat out beat, I will say. And I will not put any blame on Tom Brady. I will not put any blame on the offense. I think it entirely falls on the defense. You can't give up 41 points and expect to win the Super Bowl. We were lucky to even be in the game. We were lucky Tom even got us to 32 points. But those are my quick little thoughts. What did you think?
Well, some of the just kind of, the game all happens and the game was going, and when we got to the point where we were down, we were ahead, but they were marching right down the field at the end of the fourth quarter. We missed getting that fourth down stop at midfield. I was just getting that feeling from some of the Giants Super Bowls where it was, we need to get the ball back to Brady. Like, we might just have to let them score or just blitz every time. Either you get some sort of turnover or just let them score, because we need to give Tom Brady the ball back with some time to make something happen. And then, sure enough, they scored. We were getting the ball, needed a touchdown, had, I think it was 2 minutes and 26 seconds left. And it was like, we had 2 timeouts, we had the 2-minute warning, and it wasn't in my head that this was an automatic, but it was, okay, we've been here before. Tom Brady's been here before. This is well within the range of possibility. We didn't punt the entire game, so that seemed like it was we had a good shot there. So I mean, it really came down to that strip sack. You see some of the stats that are coming out. No team has ever given up 600 yards and won a game. So that was a first for the playoffs, regular seasons. The Eagles did that, and then you look, and people are trying to talk about how, oh, well, Tom Brady lost another Super Bowl. Well, maybe he's not the greatest of all time. This, nitpicking. It's like he did everything he could. How often is a quarterback that throws for 500 yards, has no interceptions, throws for 3 touchdowns, doesn't win the game? That's pretty mistake-free football right there. You can kind of laugh at him for not catching the pass on the
No.
Was it Amendola threw that out there?
I'm not putting the blame on him for that. He gets a pass on that, right? He's not a receiver.
He's not a wide receiver. He's
sorry, I couldn't catch. And you know what else? I fully believe that he would have caught the Foles touchdown. Like, if you were to switch them, Brady would have caught that one. But this was a much harder route, and I felt like the whole time he's running out there, he's thinking like, don't get hit, don't die for this, do not do anything crazy. Don't overextend to try to make this catch and make yourself vulnerable of getting hit.
So that's one of the things that I was thinking. Like, no one was near him, but the way that pass was thrown, if you're a wide receiver, you're much more likely to kind of like, this is usual. But it kind of came like over his head, and you just, once your eyes, you can't see people around you. You have no idea if you're just about to get absolutely just laid out. So I'm sure that's kind of got to be in the back of his head. I thought it was an interesting play call. I didn't think that we needed to run a trick play that early in the game. It was a 2nd and 5 yards, and I was a little angry about the play call, where it's like, I get trying to kind of do all the fancy things and get away and show how much smarter we are than they are, but it's like, we got Tom Brady back there. Maybe we just have him throw the 5-yard passes to the guys that know how to catch. Maybe we just go with the traditional thing. So that was That was unfortunate.
I don't want to say we were outcoached or even that we were outplayed. I just thought it was a great game and it was an even game and it came down to whoever was going to have the ball last or whoever was going to get a stop. And it turned out they
Mhm.
were the only team that made a stop that whole game. That one strip fumble, that's the game. If we make one
Yep.
play similar to that, we win. I think even if they don't make that fumble there, I think we got a pretty good chance with Brady going down the field. 2 minutes left. I like our chances. I know it wasn't looking great, but they hadn't stopped us all game. So I felt good about that. But I'm gonna give them a bunch of credit. Like I said, they got the stop. They put up the points. They matched us with that, and they took chances. They took a lot of chances, and I respect the hell out of them for that. Like that's ballsy moves. Like imagine if some of these plays don't go well, or if Foles doesn't catch that touchdown on fourth down over there. If they don't get that, the whole day tomorrow, the whole next day, and even right now on the podcast, we're talking about this is the Super Bowl. You can't be taking chances like that. You got to play it safe. You're only here
Yep.
how many times? So I give them even more credit for taking the chances, executing them well, and just flat out
Knowing that that's what
performing.
you have to do. That's what you have to do to beat the Patriots is a few times you have to like just take a huge risk. And you
And
got it, and then you have to capitalize on it. And they're able to do that a few times. Especially that 4th and 2 where they ran the trick play to Foles.
so
What other teams even go for it on 4th and 2? Most teams, we're playing the Patriots. Well, we better just get the points. And it's just known if you're going against the Patriots, you can't go for threes. You got to go for sevens,
yeah,
or
yep.
you're not even going to be in the game. And yeah, definitely just a wild game with missed field goals, 2 mixed extra points. Like how often does that happen? There were just all sorts of things happening in that game that I'm watching football, all year, and I didn't see that kind of
It was
uh,
it was
combination of events.
it was a little concerning with some of the kicks. I just had it in the back of my head, being like, all right, this guy missed 2 kicks. Gostowski missed 2 kicks the previous year when we're trying to make this 28-3 comeback. We end up having to go for two on back-to-back final drives, and we get it. And I'm thinking, man, how lucky was that guy? He got bailed out last year for missing a kick. There's no way he's going to screw up again this year. And sure enough, here he goes out. He misses that extra, not only an extra point, but three
Becomes an issue
points.
again.
And I'm thinking this is going to
Well,
cost
to
us
be
a
fair,
game
that
at
one
some
was
point.
that was a botched snap.
I still,
So that one's
I'm
a little
not
more
putting it on
difficult. But
just
still, you
him.
think you'd be able to get to it.
Anytime
The
Gostowski
whole
misses, it's probably not his fault. It's on the whole special teams. So they all get the blame. He's just kind of the head guy and the only guy
okay,
we
all
know the
right,
name of.
agreed.
So I'm putting it all on the whole special teams.
Yeah,
We have gotten bailed out. We got bailed out last year. I'll say that. We got lucky. 2 point conversions, albeit with Tom Brady and a strong offense, is favorable, but it's still not as I don't think it's as good of odds as these kickers, right? Like he should still have a better chance.
kind of seems that way, especially how dialed in.
But I want to
What were
talk.
your thoughts on the two questionable
Oh, you know what? All right.
touchdowns for the
Anybody
Eagles?
anybody who's making a big deal about these potential drops and out of bound passes, all right, to the letter of the law, the way it was been ruled all year, I agree it was questionable. But I disagree with this rule so much that even as a Patriots fan, I'm totally fine with it. Because I that was a catch, all right? I know there was a bit of a shift of direction with the ball. He kind of re-caught it. And the way it was kind of officiated all year, which is in my opinion, incorrect and wrong and frustrating. You don't know what a catch is anymore. You have to catch it, and I don't even know. You got to hold on to it the whole time. So I don't have as big of a problem with it, mostly because I disagree with the actual rule, and I'm curious to see what Goodell changes going into next year. I know that's something that they're going to address. I don't think. I don't have a problem with it. That's kind of how it boils down. I don't think it was. It didn't seem unfair to me.
That was one of the questions that I got at work from non-Patriots fans, and I think they were expecting me to be a little more, oh, those were definitely not catches. But I was very much in your boat where, uh, and it was very similar to how I felt about the in the Pittsburgh game. If I'm out in the backyard playing football, or if I were to have to make a rule, I would say all three of those are catches.
And they wouldn't even be
But
questioned. They wouldn't even be questioned.
yeah, but by the way it's being officialed, by how the rules are, like it's just officiated a little bit differently. We're playing by these are the specific rules. So it was at least in the realm of possibility that they weren't catches. But I'm in the same boat as you of well, our defense couldn't stop them anyway. So probably on the next play would have scored anyhow. So I don't look
All
at
right.
that as, oh, well, that cost us the game, because I think that's also just
Y- y-
being kind of petty to
you know
say,
what else?
oh, well, that yeah, we didn't get bailed out.
It's probably easier to say now, but in the situation, say they don't allow those and we end up winning this game, I would be so bummed out to win that way. I don't want to win like that. I don't want to win by this. It's been a plague all year for the NFL. This would be a disaster if they call one of those back and it was, suspect just like that. That would not be good.
I would have been fine with winning that way.
You would have been
I
fine
would
with
have
it.
taken the W. I would have taken the W. I would have been fine with it, because that would have happened. You would have thought about other stuff, but it would have been fine. It's one of those things that when it happens the other way and there's all this outcry that Patriots get every call, and it's just that's the only reason that they're good. Here's a prime example of, here's an opportunity. If it was rigged, if it was some sort of not above board, then clearly those would, at least one of those would have gotten for sure reversed. But they both went, quote, against us. So I think it just kind of like shows like, hey, this is this is all on the up and up.
All right. Speaking of another excuse, a lot of people tend to be giving us, or at least some blame here. Malcolm Butler, who has started every game since making that incredible play 3 years ago at the Super Bowl for versus the Seattle Seahawks, doesn't play a single snap on defense. He did play some special teams. Doesn't play a single snap on defense. Arguably one of our better defensive player, if not one of our best backs. I thought it was little. I was all right. I think he had a flu going in, right? He missed some practices. I think in the past couple of weeks he had a little illness or something
Yep.
going on, and I don't
Hmm.
know what the true reasons are of why he didn't play. But if he broke some team rules, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that too. And anybody who says, "Well, you guys kind of blew a Super Bowl by saying that," I said, "Well, you know what? If we weren't disciplined by these rules and didn't follow Belichick's lead, we wouldn't have 5 Super Bowls altogether. We wouldn't have been to 8 Super Bowls altogether. So if we got to lose one because of Belichick being Belichick, that's fine. I'll lose one and take the 5. That's my opinion on all of this. But we don't know what happened. We don't know the whole situation. I imagine he broke some team rule, and this is the way things work. This is why we are the Patriots. It might have cost us Super Bowl, but it got us 5 more.
It's awfully bizarre, because I've heard some, like, it came out pretty quickly afterwards that that there was, he was late for a curfew, and then he was found with marijuana. But it's not like, it wasn't like Belichick came out and said, "Oh, well, he broke a team rule," which seems he could easily have done that. Anyone could have said, "Oh, he broke a team rule," but that's different than, well, we did what we thought was best for the team, which that makes me think more it has to do with some sort of matchup that Belichick saw, or maybe the flu. Of course, Butler isn't gonna be like, "Nope, they made the right choice." It's always, "Yo, I'm the best. I should be out there." Like, any athlete is gonna tell you that. Uh, since those reports about the missing curfew and the drug issue, Malcolm Butler came out and put on his Instagram saying that that is completely false. Nothing like that happened. A handful of Patriots have gone on to like that. Obviously, he is pretty distraught right now. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. I don't know how he comes back, but just a really weird situation, because it's really obvious when an offensive player isn't playing. But I mean, it took a little while. It wasn't till like you're kind of into the game and the broadcast crew realizes and points it out to you, like, "Hey, yeah, Malcolm Butler's on the sideline. Like, he hasn't got in the game yet." And you're just kind of like, "Well, that's weird," especially as our defense is just getting eviscerated. Do you think that him in the game would have made a big enough difference?
I'll say this: we're so disappointed with the way our defense played that it couldn't have hurt. Like, it couldn't have been worse, right? Like, we gave up 41 points. It couldn't have been worse. It couldn't have been worse.
I agree. I think it's similar to the two catches that it would have helped if it went our way, but I don't think that it for sure is like, "Oh no, that's what changed the game." And I'm right with you on the 5 Super Bowls versus the one. It's one of these situations, you either trust them or you don't. And Belichick has gotten us to enough good situations that I just trust him. He could have benched Tom Brady and said, "We're going with Hoyer," in the fourth quarter or something, and been like, "All right, you know what? You're the guy. You're in charge. You make the decisions.
And he's
If
he's
it
earned that.
doesn't work this one time, it
He's
could have
earned
been
that right.
it could have been it could have been way worse if he was legitimately sick or and he was banged up, and then all of a sudden he gets burned for like 2 big touchdowns. Then all of a sudden you're looking at it going, oh, well, Belichick made a pretty big mistake there. Where this, it's just he's he knows what he's doing, and I trust him. And so if this is what he thought was best, who am I to question and say, oh no, you should have done this?
So that was the main storyline. I feel like leaving was like, what's the deal with Malcolm Butler? Blah blah blah. And then I felt like the next day, the coordinators both announcing that they were departing. It kind of felt like they'd already left after we lost. Like they left during the Super Bowl. It felt for me. Honestly, Patricia has been great. I don't really have any complaints, but that was horrendous. That's the worst I've ever seen our defense. We got lit up in every direction. I feel like we had no answer, and for the first time, I feel like we didn't make any adjustments. We were a little bit better in the second half, but whatever we normally counter with, we didn't have that swing
Nothing
today.
was working.
We did not have that swing. But the reason I
Well,
bring
you
up this
got to be able to
storyline,
get stops. You got to make them punt once in a while.
yeah,
It's Nick Foles. It's not like it was Drew Brees back there where it's like, oh, okay, well, Drew Brees has got the experience. He's got the pedigree. It's like Nick Foles. I mean, he as it's all been talked about. Like he's practically out of the league.
all
Like
right.
it wasn't like you're going against the best of the best. You would have thought you'd be able to make some adjustments, but I mean, he looked amazing right from the very beginning. I mean, the first 3 plays were all passes, nothing crazy downfield, but then later on he did make those passes. So no, we got to give credit to Foles for making that happen. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with Patricia.
We've talked in this podcast about multiple quarterbacks and my disappointment in a lot of them, especially say Alex Smith is a perfect example of a guy who is really solid and really consistent, but you're never going to go anywhere until you start taking some chances. And I felt like Nick Foles was the perfect example of everything I've been saying. Very again, Nick Foles is not amazing, all right, but you know what he did? He's super solid, super consistent. He's aware of his skill set, and he took some chances that were executed perfectly, and he won him a Super Bowl. Like
And even
this
that
is a
one
perfect
where he
example of
quote
that.
made a mistake on that interception, uh, it was like it was a little bit of a fluke. Like easily 50% of the time, his receiver comes down with that ball and it doesn't kind of go all goofy. So even there, like easily he could have even been better.
Yeah, so I give Nick Foles a bunch of credit. I want to talk some McDaniels drama right real quick. But before that, what are your thoughts on the Eagles going forward? My answer right now is whatever quarterback they end up choosing between Wentz or Foles, it's going to be a mistake. Regardless, there's no right answer here. Whatever they end up doing, it's going to look like a mistake in my
Oh,
opinion.
they they're just the combination of Eagles fans being in the NFC East, where it's just all the time you're on, you're going against the Giants. So Giants are a big market. DC, Dallas are all big markets. So every time it's going to get all talked up. And oh man, you just know, say, hey Foles, you did a great job. You know, we got Carson Wentz. You're going to be the backup. Oh man, as soon as Wentz throws a touchdown or starts struggling a little bit, oh man, everyone's just gonna be like, we got to put Foles back in. Foles led us to a Super Bowl. We got to get him in, or vice versa. I really think that they have to get rid of one of them to just avoid that whole drama. Similar to the Browns had a few years ago with Johnny Manziel. It's like as soon as the starter started to slip a little bit, it's like we got Johnny Manziel, we got to throw him in, and it just eat, and it's got to eat the locker room, wondering, hey, who's really the guy that we want in here?
Uh, yes or no answer. If Carson Wentz plays and it stays healthy, do they win a Super Bowl still?
I think they have just as good of a chance
I
because
think so too.
he was a better quarterback.
I think they have just as
Um,
good a chance.
so
That's a really good team. Look at those rosters. We kind of talked about this in the pregame. We did a little pregame live thing before the Super Bowl, uh, talking about if you look at these rosters, we got like undrafted guys on the Patriots. We got like a bunch of D2 schools and unknown guys. And you look at theirs.
lacrosse players.
They're all top picks. They're all high draft guys. They're all names that I think most people are aware of. So I don't know. I give him some credit on that. But I want to talk some McDaniel's drama here. Once again, we
He's
just
back.
we know how to pick a fight with the Colts. I'll say that. I don't know if this is revenge or how. I don't know what's going on here. But the day after the Super Bowl, it's both coordinators announced that they were going to continue on and join head coaching positions with the Indianapolis Colts and the Detroit Lions. Patricia,
Which was something we kind of already knew.
we knew going
Like
in.
this wasn't like brand new. This was like even like a couple of weeks ago. It was like hey, this is gonna happen. It's like 99% sure. We can't announce it because of the Super Bowl, but this wasn't like brand new. Like, oh, this just happened.
It's still baffling to me on how we got to the situation. Now, this is what I think happened. So for the story that if nobody knows right now, McDaniel's committed to the Colts, and then just today or yesterday, whatever,
Yesterday.
just recently yesterday, he announces he's not going to accept the job, and then he's going to return as the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. Apparently, there were some contract negotiations, a little extra money. He talked to Kraft, he talked to Belichick, and for whatever they said or whatever they were willing to convince him and say they were going to do, he agreed to come back on board. And now, what I think happened is he agreed he was going to leave, and then the Patriots said, "All right, well, we know he's leaving. We know the defensive coordinator's leaving. Let's go find the best guy for the job." And they looked around and they said, "Wait a minute, the best guy for the job we just let go. Let's get him back." That's what I think happened. But I think you could have another conspiracy of are we trying to maybe he took a peek at what Andrew Luck was doing on the inside over there and then decided to say, "Hey, ooh, I don't want to touch that. We don't know what's going on with him. We still don't know what's going on with Andrew Luck." Or maybe this is some little little comeback kind of against the whole Deflategate thing, or maybe he truly just didn't
I
want to leave.
I love all of the conspiracy theories, everything going on, and it was last night when that news came out because I was not expecting it at all. Because I mean, it was at this point was a done deal. The There was a press conference set for today at like noon. It was like this is all in motion. This never like gets reversed at this point. Last night at Tuesday when this goes through, this is when I finally have kind of like I think actually started to shake the Super Bowl loss. Where before that, it's like not even just like the loss on Sunday. It's just like you got to go into work the next day. Everyone knows you're a Patriots fan. You just got to deal with everybody, and then just all the social media stuff, and everyone doesn't want the Patriots to win again. You're seeing all the Tom Brady jokes, just all the memes that are going on. It's just like, oh man, like this just sucks. You have to deal with a bunch of other stuff, but I'm not used to dealing with the Patriots losing the Super Bowl. It's been a few years since I've had to deal with that. But then all of a sudden, this news about McDaniels, and then it's like, oh, all right, you know what? He's coming back to us. Okay, this is cool. And then all the responses that are coming out, and then everyone's mad at McDaniels, everyone's mad at the Patriots, everyone's mad at Kraft, everyone's mad at Belichick. It's like, oh, okay, now I'm seeing those memes. I'm used to those memes. All right, no, I can work with this. Oh, you hate us? Oh, okay, no, this this is what we have to deal with all the time. And then then you're going along, and then you think about different things like, oh yeah, what happened? Is it an Andrew Luck thing? And then you said as soon as I connected the Deflategate stuff, oh, I would be so happy even if it came out and it was like, yeah, we just sent him out there, just pretended. He knew the whole time that he wasn't going to take the job. But you know what? You you start up some fake story about us and get us to get our quarterback suspended for 4 games and make us lose a draft pick. Which you know what? A first round draft pick on defense would have been a lot of help on Sunday, I bet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that
oh
would have
man,
wouldn't have hurt.
it was
Would
like,
not
oh,
have
that's
hurt.
right. I don't like the Colts. That's right. They did the whole Deflategate thing. They've been struggling. They're kind of on the low. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. This and then I think this is their GM or their owner said today at the press conference that now the rivalry is sparked back up.
That
Pretty sure the
I
last
don't
time
get.
that we faced them, we destroyed them.
I
So
don't
that just made
understand
me
that.
laugh.
I also, you know what I really don't get? So when McDaniels announced that he was leaving, and we kind of heard all the rumors that he was going there and that Patricia was going to Detroit. I wasn't upset at all. I was kind of like happy for these guys. These guys have killed it for us year in year out. We've won Super Bowls with them. They have helped our team
And they're
without a
going for
doubt.
head coaches. Like this is them
This is the next
getting
step.
promoted.
This is the
Like this is very like this is ideally, if you're working that your boss would say, "Hey, you're moving on. Oh, you're getting a promotion out of here. Like perfect. Like we can't promote you any higher here because we have Bill Belichick. But hey, this is a hey, we're happy for you. Go best of luck. I mean, when you play us, we're not gonna be as friendly, but in general, like hey, as people, great. Like you did a good enough job that you're getting promoted now.
so I wasn't upset, and I think most Patriot fans were not also upset. And then this happens, and suddenly it feels like that spark, like the Colts. I know you kind of mocked it. That flame kind of came back of being like, oh, that's right. We don't like the Colts. why were we ever okay with this? And now I feel like I'm really happy that he didn't do it. Versus, 2 weeks ago, I didn't care. I was like, all right, cool. He needed a head coaching job. They needed a head coach. That seemed like a good fit. Good for him. But now I feel like that rivalry is renewed. Call it a rivalry. I don't know what you want to call it, but I dislike the Colts even more again. I'm happy about this. This makes me a little bit. But it made me care is the point, and I don't know why. Can you figure out why we suddenly care now? Why do I care about the Colts again?
Well, I think it's just that you lose the Super Bowl, and just in your head, I think it's similar to kind of what the Cavs and maybe even the Warriors are going through a little bit, where it's like, hey, you go through the whole year, you never get tested too much. Even if you have like a big regular season game, you lose that, like no big deal. And you kind of like you've already been in the finals, so you know what to expect there. It's just like you got to get to the finals, and that's when like it really starts. And that's kind of how it is for us. We could do fine during the regular season, but it really doesn't start for us until the playoffs and like the Super Bowl. It's like, okay, because we've been there so many times, the AFC Championship game, so many times in a row, and now it's like, oh man, all these memes, everybody joking about us. The only way we can erase that is like getting to the Super Bowl, winning next year, which is a year away. That's going to take forever.
All right,
But now you have this one little win. You got this one little win that's like, oh, this guy we were gonna lose, oh, he's back. And then in your head, at least for me, it's like, oh, well then next time the Patriots play, Edelman's gonna be back. Oh, okay. One of arguably our best receiver will be back. Oh, Brandon Cooks. Hopefully he'll recover from this concussion. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. If we have everyone together, Cooks and Edelman didn't play together this year. We had
No.
Edelman last year. We had Cooks this year, and all of a sudden it's like, and we have our offensive coordinator back. You just like kind of starts to get like your hopes back up. It's like, oh, and the Colts are trying to like want to pick a fight with us. Ooh, when do we play them next? Because oh, bring Jacoby Brissett back and say what's up with him, and just kind of it's like, okay, 2017 season's over, 2018 season started.
All right. Well, it was a great season nonetheless. I want to talk some ticket prices right now. I'll ask you one other quick question here, yes or no. Does Andrew Luck play Game 1 for the Colts? Does he?
I'm gonna say no.
You're gonna say no. See, I don't
Yeah,
know. I feel like everyone feels like he's a lock to start, and he should, but I don't think he's gonna play. I don't think he's okay. That's my
there's
personal
some.
belief. But
I mean,
there,
all
this
this
is
other
that's
stuff
gonna be an
like
ongoing
aside,
story.
yeah, all this other stuff aside, and I'm sure that McDaniels, you just did this. It was more like a family thing, and I don't know, Belichick and Kraft did some sort of kind of mind meld thing on him, but
Who knows?
completely separate from that. There's something really weird with that Andrew Luck thing because he was like close and then was always just too far away, and just it seems very similar to kind of like this Fultz stuff that's going on with the Sixers and what like happened with KG with the Celtics, where it's just kind of like, well, yeah, he's like gonna be fine, but like it's like 2 more weeks, and then 2 more weeks to like, well, like it's two more weeks, and then all of a sudden when it finally goes down, it's like, oh, like he doesn't have like we're gonna find something crazy out. Like he
Who
doesn't
who
have a
knows?
shoulder or
Who
something. Like he's missing bones or like his muscles like turned into jelly and we're trying to fix them. Just really weird and just we're like in 2018 now where it's like here's the injury, here's the recovery process. Like yesterday, Porzingis tears his ACL. It's just like an automatic boom. He's gonna be out 12 months. He's gonna be out a year. It's like how like, what's his injury that we don't know at least some sort of time frame? Is it days, months? Like he's been out a long time, and it's hard to recover. So I'm that's why I'm going with no.
You're gonna go with the no. All right. Well, that's fair. That's fair. I don't have any real beef with that. What I may have a little beef with is so I kind of have this dream of eventually going to a Super Bowl. Now I might have missed the era of seeing hopefully Tom Brady in a Super Bowl, but I'm looking at these ticket prices right now. Let me read off a couple events here, and you tell me which one you thought was the most expensive. We have this year's Super Bowl. We have the Mayweather McGregor fight. We have the college football title game, Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals Game 5, World Series Game 7. Now, all of those games, from what I remember, were phenomenal games and actually super entertaining fight. I know, say what you want about McGregor Mayweather. There's a lot of money there. A lot of money going on there. So I'll ask you, which one of those you think was the top price here? Which one was the most expensive average ticket price?
If I were to venture a guess, I would think it was the Floyd fight, just because that's unique. Where there's a Super Bowl every year, there's a college title game every year, where the Floyd McGregor, like, that's probably only happening one time.
it,
Maybe there's a rematch, but like that's kind of it.
it's a one-time thing, and it also felt like it's a smaller venue. I mean, think of the Super
That was
Bowl
gonna
and
be my next thing is
all of
it's
this stuff.
indoors.
But you know what? That's not it. That's number two. This year's Super Bowl, the average ticket price was $5,086. The average ticket for Mayweather McGregor, $2,959. That's like
Wow, I was way off.
that's like 2,000. That's a 2,000 jump right there for this year's Super Bowl. I don't know. Do Philly fans? Was it all Philly guys? Did they pony up for all this money right now? Did they just throw down an extra
Well,
two
that's
grand?
well, I don't know what made me think of this, but it was in Minnesota, so it was in a dome. But I mean, it was 0 degrees outside. I mean, you're not in the stadium the whole week before. You're doing a lot of outdoor stuff. You got to get from place to place. So it definitely wasn't the weather. I mean, the location's cool from what I was hearing.
I don't know. I was shocked by that. But with all the problems and all the drama in the NFL, you know what the one thing they're really good at?
Making
Making
money,
money. Damn.
lots of it.
They just dominated. Like that's not even close. So I'd say the next major sport would be I would say it was the NBA, but that's not even the next. College football finals was more than that at $2,305.
Well, that's a little bit tricky just because of the number of games and the
No, no,
like
this
it's
is.
just it's a little different.
I mean, still, I don't know. It's so much
It's
farther.
still, yeah.
That's almost half the price of the Super Bowl. So I don't know. Good shout out to the NFL. They get whatever Minnesota's doing. I don't know what they were charging over there. Maybe they were handing out stuff with that $5 grand. Maybe you got something more. But
But I think this just really shows how there's been all this talk throughout the year about how the NFL the interest is dying. It's not as interesting. I think this shows you, and the Super Bowl it it was it was the least watched Super Bowl since 2009 is what one side saying, and the other side saying, hey, this was still one of the top 10 most watched shows in television history.
I
So I still think that they're doing all right.
the deterrent of one, the Patriots returning, and I think the amount of hate that Philadelphia has somehow managed to gain over everyone else, mixed for a low ratings. But I will say, if somebody just said, you know what, I don't care, I know I don't like either of these teams, but it's the Super Bowl, I gotta watch it. None of those people were disappointed. I don't think this game disappointed anybody. I think even if you didn't have a dog in the fight, you saw points. The most exciting thing you can see in football is points and turnovers, and they just put up points, points on points on points. Nobody wants a defensive battle. We did not want this game to end 6-3. Nobody wanted that.
No.
So they definitely delivered with that. With that, let's transition to something a little bit more fun here. We talked about Minnesota and the travel there. I imagine almost anybody who attended the game traveled there. And even after a loss, sometimes you need a little pick me up, a little emotional support. Some people turn to animals for that. That's the common emotional support in a lot of people's lives. I have a dog, and it's not an emotional support dog, but does it make me feel better? Yes, it does. Now, there's this woman in this story here who is traveling with a peacock. And the claim is that this is an emotional support peacock, and I imagine there's some sort of documentation to prove that. But then she was denied. I guess that's not a legit thing there. I don't know how peacocks travel. I don't know if peacocks are even dangerous or safe. I have no idea. I'm not familiar with a peacock at all. But with that being said, do you think somebody should be denied even though it is an emotional support animal?
I agree that it should be there has to be some sort of limit. I understand that the emotional support animal like that's a real thing that can definitely help people. I know that the emotional support dog is being more and more common from what I've been hearing in the news on airplanes. And but there's just a big jump between a small dog and a peacock.
Is it is it
Peacock's pretty big.
is it fair to call it an exotic animal? Is that fair? I don't know what you judge
I
it
would
as.
say, yeah.
But I'm a
I
I don't know what else you would compare it to, but it sounds like an exotic animal that I don't think most people are familiar with, and the less familiar people are, the more uncomfortable they would be around it, I imagine. But I
now
have no idea.
this may be a little different. I think that there's some concern might not be the right word, but some of the emotional support animals that you know what, it's really not an emotional support animal. It's just really it's cheaper to get that designation than to pay to ship your dog somewhere else in the country. But with this story, the woman was fully prepared to pay for an additional seat. So this wasn't so much of a monetary trying to, get out of paying so much money, but I think it's got to be a little bit of a safety issue. Just like I don't think that the peacocks are the super nicest animals in the world. I mean, if you have the right dog, I mean, dogs can kind of go either way. So maybe it's the same for peacocks. I really don't know, but it
Right.
just seems if I have sitting one next to one on the plane, I'd be a little skittish.
All right, am I the only one laughing at this? So dogs fly in the plane because they can't fly. A peacock can fly. It's a bird, right? Am I the only one who thinks that's funny that a flying animal is trying to be put on a plane to fly somewhere? Albeit faster, but I mean it's flying. It's it's a flying animal being put in a flying machine. Is this what 2018 has come to?
I guess so. I didn't really think about it that way,
How
but
did you
that's
not?
really
That's the
funny.
first thing I thought about. I thought that was the funniest thing in this whole story was that a
I was all
bird was
comparing it to like
trying to
dogs and
that
emotional support animals, and what would I do if I was sitting next to a peacock on a flight? And no, you just that's a good angle.
I thought I don't know. I thought that was the only angle, right? I mean, that just seems ridiculous to me. That this is an animal that could already fly, is now being put in a machine to fly somewhere else. I have no idea what the flight mobility of a peacock is. I imagine it couldn't fly in comparison to a plane, but there's something just seems off about that. That being said, the emotional support, I get that a dog can just be kind of comforting with just the company of it, and I imagine that's the attachment you have to a peacock. But I have no way of comparing that relationship that I have with a dog to a relationship with a bird. That seems very strange that this is the uplifting animal of your choice. As well
And that's just where it's like, hey, you know what? I've never met a peacock before. I've never met someone that's used it this way, so I just don't want to knock it because I've never had the experience. So
did you ever see the movie the other guys with Will Ferrell and
yeah,
Marky
yeah,
Mark? Do you remember
yep.
the I'm a peacock captain, you gotta let me fly, or something like that? I think that was that movie. That's all I'm thinking of right now. I wish I had that sound drop right now and just keep hitting that. uh, but an interesting story nonetheless. She was not eventually. This wasn't allowed, right? They did not follow through with
No, they
this.
didn't allow it, and they cited at the time that it didn't meet the guidelines for weight and size. And even after this, they came out and I don't know if they straight up changed their policy on animals, support animals specifically, but they definitely highlighted and kind of said, "Hey, this is the levels that you can go up to this level, but you can't go beyond this." And they said peacocks were definitely on the no, can't do that list.
See, I love that there's a list. There's no, I can't imagine there's an actual list. But if there is a list, this is the only one on it right now. I don't know what other animals are being denied, but and there probably isn't an actual physical list that anybody can provide us with. It's a judgment call. I don't know whether it's the right call or not. I think it's very the increasing popularity of this sort of gimmick, I'll say, or way people are maneuvering it. There are people that are truly using this. There are a lot of people who are taking advantage of this rule. And that's just something we're gonna have to deal with going forward. I think it'll be
Oh, hold
interesting.
on, before we move on, I just checked real quick. I actually was able to find what some of the United banned animals list is.
Oh my
Would you
god!
like to hear what some of them are?
All right, can I guess at some? Let's see if
Let's see. Oh, let me just see how many I have. I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I have eight animals.
all right. I'm gonna go with another bird as my first guess. Can you bring a live chicken on the plane?
I'm gonna say no. What they just have as an all-encompassing is non-household birds.
Okay, so
I would
no.
say a chicken is not a household bird.
I don't know. I could see a bird. I don't know. I thought a bird would be another good guess. Um, all right. So these are definitely not allowed, right? Like no.
Yep.
I mean, what other weird pet like monkeys? I don't. What other weird stuff are people having?
All right. I'm not seeing monkeys anywhere on this list. I'm not sure how many pet monkeys there are. The only one I know is it Marcel or Marcellus on Friends? But that's from a TV show, so that might not be real.
All right. I'm trying to think of exotic animals. I imagine that's what this list is supposed to look like. It's not supposed to be boring animals. It's supposed to be these weird scenarios like this that make these go onto a list. Uh, I mean,
I think you're overthinking it.
I'm overthinking it. What about things
Yeah.
smaller? What about like gerbils or hamsters or something like that?
All right. We have no hedgehogs and we have no rodents.
Okay. All right. So we got that right.
So that just kind of knocks out a bunch of those there.
What about a turtle? Pet turtles or fish?
Ooh, ooh, oh man, fish. Fish are not on there. It says no reptiles. So I believe turtles are they're amphibious, right? So they'd be okay. Or are they reptiles?
I
Ooh,
think
a
they're.
little rusty there.
I don't know my ecosystems or to whatever. I don't even think that's the right word. I don't know anything about that. All right. Well,
My
just tell
biology
me the
will
list because I don't know what other. I'm trying to think of other weird pets I know people have had, and I think gerbils are
All
one,
right.
and turtles are one, and pet fish are another. But apparently, you can bring the goldfish, guys. All right, you just leave it in the baggie; it'll be fine.
All right, we have hedgehogs, ferrets, insects, rodents, snakes, spiders, reptiles, and non-household birds.
I like that insects and spiders had their own category.
Well, they're different.
We no bugs.
Well, wait, maybe just leave the biology to me. I
Okay.
only knew like a smidgen more than you, but maybe we just walk away from this biology
All
thing.
right.
Maybe we
Why
gotta
did
like read a
why did
book or
we?
something.
See, this is what happens when we get off topic on sports here. We do this for you listeners, the very few of you that there are, and this is what happens. We end up talking about things we don't know anything about, and hopefully that's entertaining for you. But it's a struggle for us, just if you were wondering.
Going right down the rabbit hole on this one.
It's not good. All right, you know what? Let's transition. Let's talk. Let's talk money. I like money. Do you like money? Money's good.
I
We
like
were
money.
just talking about how the average ticket price of the NFL was crazy this year. Well, the average NBA franchise, and not even the average, they're all probably worth well more than this right now, but every franchise has hit $1 billion now. With a B, billion, as in bird.
Yeah, this
I
came. This is the
how did
Forbes
we get?
evaluation that came out today.
That's crazy. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, what are the last couple that just sold right now? What were the last couple franchises? I know when the Clippers sold, they sold big too. But that for me felt like you're owning a team in L.A. Los Angeles is a huge city. I imagine that sale should be $1 billion. That's you're buying the city and the rights to all that. So like that sounds justified to me. But you're telling me like a I don't know. I hate to pick Milwaukee, but that's the first one that came to my head right now. I already went too hard on Milwaukee in one podcast, but uh, how are
Oh
they
yeah, that's
actually?
right.
How are they worth $1 billion? And
Well,
which ones?
here's part of it that I think that well before I go and give you out the list of it a little bit, part of it what I think you have to think about is that I don't think owners are looking at this as specifically a money making venture. You're not looking at buying some of these teams saying, I'm gonna like you gave the Bucks as an example. I'm gonna buy the Milwaukee Bucks because they make a bunch of money and that'll help me make a bunch of money. It's almost like the reverse. It's I have a bunch of money. This is a toy I can buy. There's only 30 of them. There are only a handful at any time, and that's even a lot that are even available. And it's more of if I want to be part of this exclusive club, I have to buy it. So I think there's more of a intrinsic value more than hey, this is a good business decision.
So you're saying this is gonna sound stupid and kind of backwards, but it's not actually worth $1 billion, but somebody's willing to pay $1 billion. You don't need
I'm
to agree to
agreeing with
that,
what you're
but
saying,
you
and
get you
that
get
kind of makes it worth that much,
yeah
which is like it's
yeah
like a
yeah
whole
yeah.
circle of goofiness. Yeah.
But
All right. So would you care to venture a guess at what the top value team is and what the lowest value team is,
the
or do you just
top
want me to
one.
tell you where the Bucks are? Do you want the Bucks to be your hint?
All right, where are the Bucks?
The Bucks are at 26th.
All right. Let's see who is last. I want to say OKC is last, but Minnesota. Minnesota's got to be down there, right?
Minnesota is 27th.
All right. Well, that's not bad. That's still pretty good. This is at the bottom. Uh, I want to say the most valuable one's got to be the Lakers or the Knicks.
Those are the top two. The Knicks are number one at 3.6 billion, and the Lakers are number two with 3.3 billion.
And strangely, I want to say Miami's got to be pretty low because their attendance is terrible. Where's Miami?
Miami's 10. Remember, it's not all attendance. It's also it's location, it's history. There's a little more to it than just how many people are showing up. And
All right, all right. Give me let me get one more guess. One more guess here. Who's the other like Indiana? Indiana.
Yeah. They're 22nd. The lowest
All right.
valued team is the New Orleans Pelicans.
New Orleans, huh? All right.
Yep.
That's I don't know. You know, where's Cleveland on here? Out of curiosity, and where's Cleveland going to be next year?
Cleveland are right smack dab in the middle, right at 15.
Man,
And with no LeBron, I bet that drops off big time.
yeah.
One of the other fun parts of it is it also has the percent change from last year, and the biggest change, like head and shoulders above everybody else. Care to take a guess?
Biggest change.
Who in the last year has made a huge, like the biggest turnaround? This is actually a little bit basketball related.
Biggest change.
They recently had some success in the past week, but possibly in another sport.
Oh, the Sixers.
Sixers.
Damn.
48% increase from last year.
Wow. I see. I thought
Because they have Embiid playing, and they got like a legitimate team. They're going for the playoffs. They got a young team. They could be real good, for the near future. So where last year at this time they were still sort of tanking and kind of wondering what was going to happen. Now they're it seems like they're done with the tanking. So big jump there.
All right. See, that's interesting to me because I still think Philly. Obviously, I hope most people agree with me. Philly's still a pretty big sports town. Like sports live. Everybody's familiar with it. Everyone's kind of intertwined with it. I want to say the reason Philly, the Sixers specifically, lost value is they're intentionally, like on purpose, losing for year after year in. Like nobody's gonna care that. Nobody's gonna have value in that. Nobody's gonna want to come clean up that mess. So that seems like a weird. It makes sense that they made a jump. I'm kind of baffled on why they made that big of a jump because I would have thought Philly, being a pretty reasonable city and a big sports town, would have a little bit more value than that. But that's not how these things work. Super interesting topic though, and I can't believe they're all over, or somebody's willing to pay over $1 billion for each of these franchises, and some of them probably even more. Do you know what the number is for the Knicks and the Lakers? What is that top number?
It was 3.6 and 3.3.
Damn, man, that's so much money. Billion with the B. Like remember when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was a thing, like on TV with Regis Philbin or whoever the host was. It changed, and you would be like, yeah, this would be great. I could just be really smart and get $1 million. $1 million really is not that much anymore. And I'm not trying to make it sound like I wouldn't want that or if that wouldn't be happy with that, but the people have $1 billion to go buy an NBA franchise, of which probably doesn't even make them money some years. That's crazy.
And I don't think that you could buy the Knicks or the Lakers right now for even $4 billion.
You could barely even buy a stake in them at that valuation.
Like I just don't even. I don't think they'd entertain the idea if they know like, hey, we're worth this much. If you want into this club, you got to pay a premium.
All right,
and that's a steep price.
All right, I got two fun little NBA stories here. Speaking of things I also can't believe, did you see Giannis jump over Hardaway last night? Literally jumped over a 6'6" basketball player. Clean.
That is the dunk of the year.
And he landed, and the other guy wasn't even hurt or just barely brushes against his shorts.
Didn't fall down?
Doesn't even fall down.
Didn't knock him down? Nothing like that. Yeah. If you have not seen this dunk by Giannis, What's his last name, Will?
Antetokounmpo.
Boom. Yeah. See how that's spelled? That's a tricky one. Giannis, spelled with a G, Giannis. Just Google that. You probably don't even need to add anything. If you just put that name in there, this is gonna pop up. I saw this on my Twitter feed, and it's just one of those dunks that you have to watch 3 times to say, like, did he jump over him? Then you watch it like 3 more times, say, oh yeah, for sure he did. And just every time it came up, I just watched it again. And I just don't do that very often. It's usually you kind of see a highlight. It's like, okay, that's cool. It's like this one I watched over and over again. I watched it this morning. I mean, I think it's right up there. There's not a lot of dunking over people in a game. I mean, it's right up there with dunking over the French guy
Was
in
it the French
the
guy
Olympics.
with
Or
It was Vince Carter with the Olympics, and he dunked over the French guy who the Knicks had drafted that year, and they later cut him shortly after the Olympics. The
uh,
the
just
rumor goes that it
just
was based on that one play that he eventually got cut and went unemployed in the NBA. But the one thing I'll say, the big difference is that Vince Carter dunk, that's a 7-footer. Giannis jumped over a guard, but I will say Vince Carter kind of does the little shoulder uplift, where he kind of puts his offhand on the other guy's shoulder and it kind of pushes himself up. Yeah, Giannis does not do that. He literally clears the guy without any other push off or push down, without the other guy squatting down. It looks like he's standing almost fully upright, and it wasn't even a foul. Like, that was the crazier part. Was it a foul? I don't think it was a
yeah, I
foul.
don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know how it's possible not to foul somebody there. It
Uh,
was just on a breakaway, and it's just an alley oop. Guy just goes up, and I mean, you say he's not 7 foot, but I mean, it was Tim Hardaway Jr. He just got a big contract from the Knicks this past offseason. People think that it was overvalued, or that he was overvalued, but it's not like this is some guy that's not going to be in the league, tomorrow. Like this
no, no,
this guy's going to be in
he's
the league
staying
for a while,
around.
and
He's gonna be around.
he's 6'6".
Yeah.
Like, it's not like this is Isaiah Thomas out there. Like, 6'6". If you saw a 6'6" guy on the street,
Yeah.
I know for me, I would definitely. It'd be one of those things you nudge your buddy and you're just like, yo, that guy's really tall.
6'6" is up there, and this is this is easily going to be the dunk of the year. And if anything, all right, let me ask you this:
I feel like it.
assuming it wasn't a foul, that's great defense, right? He didn't
You're
foul
you're,
him.
you're right. You're between your man and the ball, right?
Yeah,
You're between your man and the hoop. That's
I
exactly where you're
you,
supposed to be. But
I'll look at it.
we're in the era where a guy could just jump over another man and just dunk it.
We'll break it down like this. All right, he stayed in front of his man, like you said, and was man on the ball between the basket. Da da da. All that. Check, check, check. He didn't foul. Check. And I feel like he made it very challenging. So that checks all the boxes for good defense in my book. Now it's certainly embarrassing, and this is going to be a poster. You're going to see this for a while. Giannis isn't going away either. You're going to be seeing a lot more Giannis highlights, and this is going to be one of the best ones we're going to rewatch for a long time. So that was fun. That
Oh,
was amazing. I'm going to say that's going to be the top dunk going forward. I also want to talk a little controversy about a Kings fan, or maybe I won't even call him that. I'll call him a basketball fan. There's this little kid seen on the sideline here. It's a Kings game. The Warriors are in town. I think this was maybe last week, or maybe a little bit longer than that. And this kid's on the sideline. There's another guy. I don't know how they got the video of this, but Curry comes out of the locker room. The Warriors start warming up, and this kid takes off his Kings jersey that he has, and underneath he's got a Warriors jersey. I don't know if I'm all right with this bandwagon hopping, but it's a kid, so can I be disappointed? Maybe Curry's his favorite player. The Kings are his favorite team. I don't know. Where did we cross a line here? What boundaries do we need to have? This doesn't seem like something I would want my kid to do, but it also doesn't seem like something I would yell at a kid for doing.
that's where it was tricky because when I first heard about it, it was like, all right, come on, like can't be doing that. But then I saw it; it was like a 9, 10 year old kid. It's like, you know what? Like that's when you can get away with something like this because like it's a kid. Like all right, like you said, can't really get mad at a kid like that.
But
But
to
maybe more
consciously,
mad at his parents. Like there's got to be a better way to do this.
I don't understand why
Maybe
he
have
couldn't
Curry
pick a
shoes on
jersey.
or something. It just seems like I just can't imagine like even as a kid going to a Celtics game and then taking off my Celtics jersey because I wanted to show like Curry that I was wearing a Curry jersey.
I can't imagine a scenario like this. I can't imagine my hopeful future kids ever having a scenario like this. If they really want to do that, I'm making them pick a jersey. You're not wearing both. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want. Now we're talking about it. You're being talked about all over podcasts. I don't want that. That's not good publicity. I don't want my kid to be known as that kid.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. That's
I don't like it, but it's only a kid, so I'm not really gonna go after him too hard.
All right, and then I have one more little controversy thing here, and this was also not so recent, but maybe a week or so ago. Russell Westbrook wins a game, and as he's celebrating kind of on the court, a fan manages to also get on the court, and there's an altercation here, and I don't like this. I'm not all right with that. You know what? I would have had no problem with Westbrook essentially, I'll say, protecting himself, even if it was attacking this fan. You're not supposed to go into this. You're not allowed on the court. You crossed into his field, and whatever happens on his field, it's fair game in my opinion. I don't know where the security was. I don't know what else they're doing. This is the only job that all those guys. There's normally like 6 security guards, not even looking at the game. They have their back to the game. They're looking out in the crowd. I don't know how they managed to sneak by that. But you got a problem with fans on the court, or what's going on here? I know you're all about storming the court for college, but we're at a professional sports here. This is not the same. These are apples and oranges.
This is where it's different. One, professional and college. I feel like in the college when you're storming the court, it's a celebration of your team and your school winning. This was very much you're going up in the other guy's face, and going to an NBA game, like you're not allowed on the court. The same way the players like I can't go into the stands. Like that's just a known thing, especially after Malice in the Palace. That's just a done thing, and I think the fan was excited, but definitely went too far. I think we're lucky that Westbrook just kind of shoved him a little bit. And it wasn't something worse because I mean, in that situation, don't even think about it as hey, here's a basketball player and you as a fan. Try going up to just somebody on the street and doing that.
Yeah, no,
Monday,
not cool.
Monday morning.
Nobody's gonna react.
Just going up like that is just not. That's not an allowed thing. So this only amplifies it, and it's rough for Westbrook because if he were to have done something, I mean, this guy, nothing probably really happened to him. Maybe a little slap on the wrist, but if Westbrook took a swing at him or there was more of an altercation, I mean, Westbrook's in big trouble. So just trying to iron that out. I'm glad that nothing
we're so lucky nothing happened, because I would have had no problem with Westbrook doing it. It might have affected his image. It might have been a bad call, but it would have been justified. You don't know what these fans are doing. You don't know what he's about to do. You don't know what he has on him. You can't trust anybody that crosses this line. There's a reason those lines exist right now. That's the whole purpose of this. Is you're a fan, I'm a player, I stay here, you stay there. I don't go over there, you don't come over here. Once you do that, this is now you've broken a rule already. So I'm treating you as if you're something very dangerous, in my opinion. And I don't. That fan is lucky, man, because Westbrook is an emotional guy to begin with. I thought Westbrook handled himself really, really well. This situation could have gone so much worse.
I mean, as best as you possibly can.
Well,
I saw somebody on Twitter close to when that happened said that there should just be policy in the NBA that you could just fight one fan a year. Like there's just a grace period. Someone does something real stupid like that, and just kind of like remind them. Yeah, I know I look small on TV because I'm a guard and everyone else is really tall, but in real life, I am a giant human being, like the peak physical specimen. You want no part of messing with me.
I mean, I want no part of that. But as a message to all fans, don't do this. Don't put guys. They're gonna feel threatened, and if you're Westbrook and probably the best athlete in the world. I imagine that's not a guy you want to surprise. It's not a guy you want to put in a situation where he may react violently. Don't do that.
No.
So
no. Just celebrate with your buddies. You got to get a courtside seat. You're right there. Just You already had fun. Your team won. There's no reason to go up to the other players and try to get in their face. Just
Nope.
celebrate their buddies and walk away.
Now, you know what? You know what else is kind of. This is really bad, and I hate that I'm about to say this, but isn't this what Twitter's for? Why do you have to actually physically go see him? Just tweet him. Does that not get across the same line here?
Yeah. Stay safe, buddy.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's going to wrap up about the hour for the podcast here. We want to thank all our live listeners for listening today. You're listening to A Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Limonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. Make sure you check out the podcast on iTunes and on our website, lcalcb.wordpress.com. If you are listening live, thank you for listening live and checking out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs. You can buy a home. Anybody can do it, and I can help you do it. One step at a time. You can also check out Zach and his Twitter, all his crazy video nonsense. You can see Giannis jump over people, and you can reach that at
Wicked Z-Man 24.
And we'll be back hopefully next week. A lot less miserable Patriot talk. I know there's a lot of sport talk today. Maybe a little bit more fun stuff next week. Thank you as always for listening, and we'll be back. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. I'm good for today.
Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. You got us. It's not easily done, but I'll give credit where credit's due. And we'll just end it on that note and let the music play out.